Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Angie and this is Cover Spines and Pages, and welcome to Thirsty Thursdays. So Thirsty Thursdays is a series I'm going to be doing on my channel over the next few weeks, where on Thursdays I'm going to have a beverage and talk about a book that I've recently read. So today I decided to go with a simple beverage. It's the middle of the day and I didn't really feel like it was beer 30 yet. So I'm just having lemonade, and it gave me an excuse to pull out this beautiful cup that my friend Brittany at Rescues and Reads gave me. So Brittany, if you're watching, thank you. I love the cup. So the book that I want to talk about today it's so far it's my favorite book of 2026, and it is the first in a series, and I have to talk about it because I'm ready to pick up the second book finally. And if I don't have a video on the first book, it just wouldn't make any sense to do one on the second. So I've read this book twice already this year. The first time I read it was during my 24-hour readathon, and because I read a lot of it in the middle of the night, you lose bits and pieces when you're tired. So I did go back and reread it again in February because I just didn't want to miss out. I loved it that much the first time. And yeah, I don't think I need to explain that any further. But the book that I'm talking about is By Blood, by Salt by J.L. Odom. And if you have watched any of my other videos, you may have already heard me talk about this book a little bit because, like I said, it's my favorite so far of 2026, and I've probably bragged about it a couple of times. But J.L. Odom is an independent author, and I'm going to link below her website where you can pick up a copy of this book. She has it in hardback and paperback on her website, or at least she did the last time I checked. And you can also pick it up on Amazon, and it's available on Audible as well. So By Blood, by Salt is a story about a man by the name of Azetla, and Azetla is a Moshavi. And the Moshavi are an oppressed people under the thumb of a culture called the Meroans. And it's very similar to me to the dynamics that you see between ancient Rome and the Jews, in that just the way that their cultures, not so much how they interact, because I would say the Romans were probably a little nicer to the Jews than the Meroans are to the Moshavi in this book. But the Meroans very much act a lot like the Romans. They're a conquering people, and then the Moshavi were under the rule of a king who tried to rise up against the Meroan emperor, and as such, they were crushed, and now they are considered the bad guys. And the Moshavis are treated very poorly by the Meroan people. If a Moshavi walks down the street, he's probably going to get spat on or have things thrown at him or racial slurs thrown at him, or they might even just get killed for a minor infraction, because the rules that the Moshavi people have to follow are extremely strict and unreasonable. So the Moshavi people are killed in public squares as part of celebrations, just to prove the power of the emperor of the Meroan people. And it's really pretty brutal. But Azetla is serving in the Meroan army. And I think what I gather from the story is that this is a requirement, that he was required to serve 20 years in the Meroan army, but that would still have a lot of restrictions on it that somehow he doesn't have, because he earned the trust of his captain. And so now he's this unofficial commander of a battalion. And the battalion has been sent out to acquire a Sar devil as proof of the Emperor of Moreau's power. And the Sar devil is a character in and of themselves that is really very interesting, plays an integral part in the story, but is nothing at all what they expect. And the, the book, Odom doesn't really go into a lot of details about what a Sar Devil looks like. And the physical description isn't really there. You don't even know, the gender is ambiguous, and so it leaves a lot up to your imagination. And I'm not much of a visualizer, to be honest with you. So I went on a hunt trying to figure out what a Sar Devil might look like. I thought maybe that they are something from Middle Eastern mythology or something like that. And it turns out that that's that's possible. And in the next book, I think I read that, and I haven't read the second book, obviously, as I already said, but is referred to as a jinn devil. So, I don't even remember where I saw that, but I went hunting for this on the internet because I really wanted to see or know what this creature looks like. And so I looked up what a jinn devil is, and it's described under Wikipedia as a supernatural, intelligent being in Islamic theology and Arabian folklore, created from smokeless, scorching fire, which I think sounds pretty cool. There are not a lot of pictures that um, that portray this, but I did find one, and this one is really, I think, quite old. And I'm hopefully I can show you this without too much glare from all the lights that are in here. But I mean, look at this creature in this picture. That is somebody's image of what a jinn devil looks like. And I can see how that would be fitting for what a Sar devil might look like, considering that there just really isn't that much description. And like I said, even the gender is ambiguous. And that picture I thought was a pretty good potential for what this creature looks like. And I'm gonna have to, if I could just find out what Odom's image of this Sar Devil is, I'd probably be pretty happy. But I'm maybe it was supposed to be left up to our imaginations entirely. Like I said, it seems like the cultures are similar to Roman and Jewish cultures. This is really prevalent in the Moshevi culture because the Moshevis have rules around what they are permitted to eat and the way that they are supposed to ritually worship and how they pray that are very, very similar to how the Israelites and Jews were instructed to eat and worship in the Bible. And I thought that that was pretty cool. One of the, I mean, obviously, one of the big themes in this is prejudice. They, Azetla is called a jackal through this whole thing. He's a Moshevi, and a jackal is considered a condescending or derogatory term for a Moshevi. And that is what he is referred to through the whole thing, even by people that he kind of considers his friends, which is pretty sad. The way that Azetla's people are treated is abhorrent. But at the same time, Azetla isn't immune to treating people that way also. The way he treats the Sar devil in this is very well, that creature is beneath him, and he makes that very clear. And he's also the same way with the way that he treats people that he meets along the way in the story. And it's so human for him to do that, for him, because we tend to be really bad at holding a mirror up to ourselves and seeing that we tend to do the same thing to people that people do to us. And it is demonstrated really well in this story, and it's subtle, and I like that. Odom's prose in this are just amazing, very descriptive in a way that really can bring to mind images even for me. And I'm not even a very imaginative, it's not that I'm not imaginative, but I don't visualize very well. And I'm not one thing you're probably never going to see on this channel is me reading a synopsis from the back. But right now I'm going to read the very first paragraph, because it's a good demonstration of how Odom writes throughout the whole thing. It says, the wind was warm and pungent as it dove down, twisted through the narrow alleys of South City, and pushed softly at Azetla's back. It was early in the year for the desert to be driving its scent up through the imperial capital, but Azetla took comfort from it. He let it shepherd his smooth strides toward the northern half of the city, and he breathed in those little hints of home. And that's just paragraph 1. The whole thing is just written that well. And I hope that you'll pick it up and read it for yourself, because it's excellent. And I don't even know what else to say about this book, because I've struggled to do this book the justice I think that it deserves. But I'm really excited to read A Haunt for Jackals. I have that one. This is book 2. And now that I have done this video, I can take this one and roll with it. And I have to give a shout out to whoever does Odom's cover art. I wonder, does it say? Cover art by Jerry Adams. Cover design by Kelly Carter. So there, credit where credit is due, because it is beautiful. The color scheme on this one is definitely a favorite of mine. And my visualization of Azetla is this person right there. So hopefully that's who she meant us to think was Azetla. And then A Haunt for Jackals. I mean, beautiful, beautiful artwork on the cover. And just, I'm assuming that the art's the same. Yep. The cover art by Jeremy Adams. The cover design is Raphael Andres, which is different than the first one, the cover design. That is a wrap on this probably terrible book review. So, Jamie, if you are watching this, I am sorry if I have not done justice to your book, but I loved it, and I hope that anybody that is watching this that hasn't had a chance to read it will pick it up in spite of me. Anyway, I will catch you next time.